How you guys doing? I am Timothy McDonald. I am a junior chemical engineering major from Baltimore, Maryland, and I have the pleasure of serving as the 44th Mr. Howard University. And my, I guess, theme song for this year would have to be "Broke in a Minute." It's by Tory Lanez. You know, it's been a very expensive year, and I've had to dish out a lot of bread here and there, so it's broke in a minute. But don't worry, we're gonna be up by the end of next year, so we're good.
Hello, my name is Taylor Davis. I'm a senior marketing major from Dallas, Texas, and I currently serve as the 82nd Miss Howard University. And my theme song right now and for the year is So Ambitious by Jay-Z and Pharrell. It's kind of just been my life theme song. It always keeps me motivated and inspired. So definitely a great song. If you haven't heard it, you should check it out.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lauren Mcrae. I'm a junior supply chain management major from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and I have the pleasure of serving as Miss School of Business for the 2020-2021 school year. And my theme song for this year, especially during quarantine, is Girl on Fire by Alicia Keys. You have to remind yourself that you're on fire and that you're doing everything that you're supposed to be doing to keep yourself motivated.
Hi everyone, my name is Morgan Gibson. I am a junior chemical engineering major from Huntsville, Alabama, and I currently serve as Miss College of Engineering and Architecture. So my theme song this year would have to be Big by Pastor Mike Jr. I think sometimes it's so easy to forget, like, especially in quarantine, that God has a plan and like things are going to work out for you. And I've just been trying to have this mindset that there is a window in heaven that's open just for me. So I definitely love that song.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is London Jones, and I am a junior at Anacostia High School, and I'm also a published author. A song that I would pick to describe the whole year is definitely Songs About You by Chica. I really like that song. I think it is.
All right, with that, we are going to jump into a conversation that's essentially peer-to-peer. We wanted to create a space where young folks could give advice to their peers about how they're coping during COVID and also preparing themselves to navigate distance learning. So as I share with our lovely guests, it's one thing for us to tell you how to do school or how to stay focused or how to connect with your peers. It's another thing hearing it from other high schoolers and other college folks. So thank you again, everyone, for being here. So I'm going to start, and anyone can answer the question. What has been your experience during quarantine and during COVID? I know it hit right during the spring semester. And it could have changed some things. So what has been your experience? London, I see you raise your hand.
Yes, my experience with like distance learning is it's kind of difficult, but not difficult, if you know what I mean. It's kind of like difficult in the sense that I can't get the hands-on learning that I usually need, and that I need to make sure that I hold myself accountable to doing my work. And because you're not in a school building where you have to do work, like you're at home where there's other distractions. So I feel like it's difficult in that sense for me. But the overall experience it has been kind of okay.
Thanks, London. Does anyone else want to answer? What has your overall experience with quarantine been?
Yeah, I'll share. I think that overall, I think a lot of other people, at first it was kind of just feeling a little disappointed going into the year. You're looking forward to having this full year, and then in the blink of an eye, it's completely different. But I think it's been great in a lot of ways because it's taught me to, the importance of being adaptable and flexible. And also just kind of almost distancing from everything has really allowed me to kind of reflect on a lot of things that I want to accomplish in my life and things I've already accomplished. And I feel like it's provided me a lot of clarity. And I really enjoy just kind of having that moment where I am just kind of forced to be in the house. So I have nothing but time to think. And I feel like I had a lot of clarity throughout this quarantine.
Yeah, I
Thank
also
you.
agree with that. I was going to say, I think quarantine has definitely like brought about some type of purpose because you have a lot of time to think. And, there was at one point I was on Netflix and Hulu and YouTube all day. But there was something that needed to be done. There are things that I've wanted to do since I was a kid, and now I have time. I have time to do those things. So if anything, like I feel quarantine has birthed a lot of purpose for me.
Yes, I feel that a big thing for me is that now I can spend more time with my family. And I feel like, especially being a college student, you're ripping and running. And even during, like, when you're home for Thanksgiving and stuff, you're still focusing on finals, like, you're still in school mode. And I feel that quarantine has really allowed me to. I now have time to spend with my family. I have time, well, not spend, but Zoom with my family. My family, we did Zoom sessions like every Sunday. And then, like, actually, my uncle was diagnosed with COVID, and we did Zooms with him like every other day. And my family, we did a lot of game nights and movie nights. And that's something that I hadn't done in so long, like probably since I was in middle school, because everyone was running to practice, to dance, to cheer. And now it's like you have a breath of fresh air to really spend quality time with your family. So that's really what I've been enjoying.
Nice. So some of you already chatted about it, but how was school when everything first shut down? Like, how was that experience?
I can talk a little bit about this. So for some of us, right, it was around the spring break time that we found out that, all this was happening and that, we can't return to campus. There was a bunch of people who couldn't get their things from their dorm rooms. It was just pretty hectic overall, right? And we were all looking forward to spring semester, the weather getting nice. Everybody be out on the yard more, and it was just it was a real heartache when we found out that we couldn't return, and then they kicked us out so suddenly, right? And on one hand, you're looking at it like, you're not giving us a chance to get our stuff. Why is that? But then you have to take a step back and realize that this is a health pandemic, and people's lives are the number one priority. And you have to remember that although it may not be the most convenient thing to do, we can't. We just couldn't return, and so it was just hectic overall. And then finding out that we couldn't come back for the fall semester, that one hurt even more. I know we were all looking forward to homecoming, looking forward to getting lit with each other. But again, we have to remember that the pandemic this is the first time all of us are really experiencing this in this effect, right? And so, it's just hopefully we can return in the spring and, we can get all those festivities in there. We can still have a great time. But just from when we first heard about it, it was definitely a crazy experience.
Thank you. So some of you mentioned it as well. So what were some of the fun things that you did, like, to keep yourself grounded and connected? I heard some people say spend more time with their family. That's something that I did as well. Family chats, friend chats. My high school friends, we have a Zoom every Friday where we watch movies and shows, and we haven't spoken in like over 10 years. So what are some of the things that you did during the experience, like, to keep your spirits up?
So one thing, well, multiple things that I've done to keep my spirits up during quarantine is definitely like painting and stuff. Like, with the materials that Black Swan Academy have gave me, I had used those materials and those artworks, and I've been painting and stuff like that. And also, I've been writing more poems, and I've been doing this Shout Mouse Press. Like, they have these incentives that you do, and you get paid for them. So you have to write a poem, short stories, things like that. So I've been doing that.
That's awesome, London. Anyone else want to share what has fun looked like or what they've been doing over the summer?
Yeah, definitely. So this summer I got into like trading stocks, something that I always wanted to do. So investing, and that's been actually very fun for me, slightly obsessive, but definitely a great time. So that's kind of just something small, just to kind of keep myself busy, keep something to look at every once in a while. So
Okay, you're focused on securing the bag for the future, and that's making it fun today. I love it. That's awesome. Anyone else want to share what they've been doing for fun, or what they did over their summer?
This summer, some things I picked up. I started doing yoga with my mom, which was, I thought, very sweet. And I had an internship throughout the summer, so that kind of kept me busy. I was interning with Apple Music, and I think that was it. It was something that really kept me motivated amongst, being disappointed. They were very supportive and understood that, this isn't the experience that anybody thought we were going to have. So I think that was a huge part of just kind of what kept me optimistic. And it's just giving me an opportunity, kind of like I mentioned before, to like really sit and reflect on things that are important to me, and even beyond Howard. Like, I'm going into my senior year, so been planning a lot of things I'd like to do this coming year. So I have a lot of just like cool projects that I picked up this summer. So overall, it hasn't been too bad.
You got it. So you moved right into our next question, hobbies. So what are some new hobbies or some new things that you've tried? We heard some trading, we heard some yoga. Anyone else pick something up, or in painting?
So I used to be really, really into baking. Like middle school, anybody's birthday, I would bake them cupcakes, and I had piping bags and icing tips. And I was really, really into the whole Party City cake Michael's aisle. So I've tried to get back into baking, because that was something I really, really enjoyed, even though I don't like cake. That's the funny thing. I don't like the treats, but I make them for other people. And I'll maybe have like a little nibble of it, but just like the act of baking and decorating is very relaxing to me. So I will make stuff for other people to eat.
And Lauren, I'm glad you said that, because I started to pick up cooking, actually. I've always been either relying on my parents, to make me something, or, I just buy some food. And I started to realize how much money I was spending on food a week. I'm like, dang, I need to start picking some stuff up. So I learned how to, I've cooked baked ziti since I've been home. I've made, honey barbecue wings, shrimp tacos. I try to expand my palate a little bit. And it's been really relaxing. It's been really, enjoyable. And then now that I feel like I feel more independent, I can go out on my own, make a couple meals, have people over, show them a good time. So I'm really happy about that. And Lauren, when you get a chance, I would love some cupcakes or a cake. Since you don't want to eat it, I will happily eat it. Just know that.
Okay.
Cool. Cupcakes, zitis, tacos. My favorite. I make shrimp tacos all the time, so I feel you. I'm happy that you are trying out new things and learning new skills. It sounds like all of the things that you picked up between painting, poetry, yoga, baking, cooking are things that will sustain you anyway. So like, you really are building a new toolkit, and also self-care looks different for everyone. And so it seems like you all have dug into that and found new practices for yourself. So with that, I want to ask, for most of you, you've already started school, and distance learning is where we are right now. What has been some tools or some strategies that you've used to stay focused? I know for London, for example, I believe this is your first week of school. I'm not sure how long Howard has been in school, but let's talk a bit about what distance learning has looked like this school year so far.
So for me, distance learning for our first week of school, we have no more A days and B days. We just have 4 classes for the whole term, I think. And so until until January, we'll have these classes. But they've been doing a good job of not like trying to overwhelm us. But maybe that's just because it's the first week. But I don't feel personally overwhelmed. And I really like the classes that I have gotten. And I just think it's okay. I would rather be in school, but I would rather be safe. So.
I think distance learning at Howard, it's definitely been a difficult transition, I would say. It's just, I think, a little bit harder to stay engaged. And then also just keeping up with the dates with everything, for some reason, it just seems a little bit harder. And then it's you like sometimes I will literally just like wake up 3 minutes before the class starts, just roll over, grab the laptop and just attend class that way. And it's like, that's no real way to learn. So I think it's more about like discipline. I'm trying to like separate like my bedroom and living space from where I do my work, and physically getting up and going somewhere else so that I actually am engaged and it doesn't just feel kind of lazy and things like that. So I would say for me, it's definitely been kind of a big transition, and not getting up and leaving the dorm to go to class had a bigger toll than I thought it would. So I'm still adjusting.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead, Timothy. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
My bad. I'm a gentleman. Go ahead, say what you got to say.
Thank you. No, I was going to second basically what Taylor has said, because I literally roll over and go to class. That has been my routine. And as of recently, like as in like Wednesday, I started getting up, taking a shower, like doing all the regular things that I would do to go to class, because it started taking a toll on my mental health. Like I really was like being sad all day long just because I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't going anywhere. So getting up and actually getting ready as if I was to go somewhere has been extremely helpful, and I'm not late to the Zoom calls anymore. So it's been very helpful with time, because I used to be early for class, every single class. And now I'm coming in 30 minutes late because I overslept because I'm sad, and it's just not good. So very, very grateful for this new routine that's coming about.
Yeah, Morgan and Taylor both talked about it, but I would recommend, really, if you can, leaving your house, right? Because for me, my house is where I'm the most comfortable. And, wherever you're the most comfortable, you're bound to make mistakes, or you're bound to be lackadaisical, right? I have, at least in my room, I have my computer, and then I have my PS4, Do I want to talk about balancing equations all day, or do I want to play games? It's not really a fair thing. And so sometimes that can become too much of a temptation. But if you can separate yourself from that, if you can go to maybe a library, I know some things may be closed because of COVID and everything, but some things are starting to open, slowly. So if you can go to a library, maybe go to a park, get your personal hotspot going on, and, just being out there, like being in a different environment other than your home, I feel like that's helped me at least. Like I said, being at home is just a little bit too many distractions, a little too comfortable for me to be as productive as I can be if I'm just somewhere that's not there.
Yes, I would agree. My experience with distance learning, I moved in the middle of a pandemic. So now I'm in an apartment and everything is on back order. A desk is going to take 5 to 6 weeks to get here. A couch is going to take 5 to 6 weeks to get here. So because of COVID, and everything is so behind. So I'm like, well, now I'm sitting on an ottoman in a little makeshift desk setup because I don't want to do Zoom in my bed because I'm going to fall asleep. So it's like I have to try to figure out other things. But one thing that I like Timmy said, I did like to go outside, like going in the courtyard in the middle of my apartment and possibly doing my class out there, or going into we have like a little conference room area and trying to do work in there, just trying to find another way to where I'm not sitting on the floor. I'm not sitting on my bed and just trying to find something. I've actually sat on a counter for a class, like just trying to figure out other ways to not be in the bed. I think that's the biggest thing, because if you're in the bed, you're going to go to sleep and you're not going to pay attention and you're going to do something else.
London, do you have any tips or tricks for high school students who are navigating distance learning? I know you're very adaptable. I know London personally, y'all, and London just always figures things out. So what would you advise high schoolers to do to be in that space? Like you said, it's okay. So what would you give them?
I would tell them what I do is I put for example, if I get work for my class, because we have 42 minutes of being live on the call, and then the other 45 to 42 minutes is like independent time where you get to work on your stuff. I would tell like people to work on your stuff during that independent time, but some classes take up the whole time on live calls. So if you do get homework, I would suggest that you work on it later on in the day after all your classes, and then that way, after you work on your homework, you get all this free time to yourself. And then you can get rest, you can eat, you can take a shower, go to sleep, wake up, and do it again.
So I'm hearing consistency. I'm hearing find an environment that works for you, that's not too comfortable, but that will help you be productive. I'm hearing get dressed as if you were going out to class. I'm also hearing like make wise choices about your time, use your time wisely. And this is, not only is this good for folks who are in school, for us folks who are still working every day virtually, this sounds like great advice for us as well. If y'all can tell me one thing that you're looking forward to about this school year, whether it's distance learning, whether it's a hybrid, or whether it goes back to regular in-person, what is one thing that each of you are looking forward to this school year?
Well, personally for me, I'm looking forward to receiving the education part, like receiving and retaining it more like. I want to make sure that when I do eventually go back to school, I don't just forget all of this stuff that I learned term one, that I actually know how to do it and that I can be the best me in school that I can be.
Yes. So I'm looking forward to, because the way your scheme works in the School of Business, like you're really not in that many business classes until your junior year. And I've been looking forward to these business classes, and I've been waiting for the day to get out of all the general education classes. So, and I know it does suck that it is Zoom University, but I'm trying to remind myself, Lauren, this is what you've been waiting for. You've been waiting for these business classes because this means that you're almost done. So I'm looking forward to getting into my major courses and really starting to figure out more even what my major even is, because I feel like some people still don't even know what their major is. So it's like I'm trying to push through and remain positive, because this is the time that I've been waiting for.
I personally am looking forward to, just being around people again. That is a big part of college, honestly. And, like Morgan, Taylor, and Lauren knows, Howard is not a cheap school. It's very expensive, and part of the experience is just being around people. Like the reason, I came to Howard is being around intelligent Black people who will push me. But while I'm at home, I'm not really, I don't really feel that all that constant pushing, that constant motivation, like, oh, this person's doing this, another person's doing this. Like, what am I doing? I'm lacking right now, So just being around there, and then of course, like going to parties, maybe going out to eat with people, going to restaurants. DC is just a really cool place if you take the time to explore it. And so just being around people, enjoying those moments. These 4 years don't last forever. It's just a really big part of it for me. And then of course the education as well, right? I got to say that. The education is a big part of it too. And again, being challenged by other engineers in the classroom, it's a really motivating time. And so I'm just looking forward to that. Hopefully we can do that in the spring. If not, we still got 2021. So we'll see.
I definitely second everything that was said, but I think I'm also just looking forward to seeing how we kind of be creative and still try to get as much as the experience virtually. Like we have this thing that happens every year at Howard called Taste of Howard, and we did it virtually this year, and I thought it ended up being really cute. So I'm excited to kind of see what else we can do, what other like resources we can use. We're in the process right now of planning a virtual Mr. and Ms. Freshman pageant, and I think that that's exciting that this is the first ever virtual pageant at Howard. So I think that there's a lot of opportunity to be super creative and innovative with the current state of our world and almost just kind of make history so that people remember like, oh, this was the court or this is the class that had a virtual experience, but they still made it work.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to being a student leader during quarantine. I think, that's kind of a new avenue that Mr. and Ms. Howard have done a really good job at doing. And so like trying to follow their lead and like navigate that world of trying to be as present as possible from my home. So it's something that I'm looking forward to, seeing how, like she said, to be creative and like just being in that realm of like having to show people who you really are, because it's easy to be present when you're there. You can do tabling and all kinds of things, but it's a little more difficult when you're at home. So looking forward to that. And then me and Timothy are actually the same major. So looking forward to see how we can navigate being chemical engineering majors from home is going to be interesting. So.
I think you're on mute.
Kwanzaa, you're on mute.
Oh, this is my life. I get so excited. Yeah, so are there any other, well, thank you all for those answers. And before I go on to that, and I can resonate, I work with young people and youth advocates and leaders, and that innovation and creativeness and trying to keep everybody energized and help folks adapt is a large part of my role and responsibility, as well as the things that I do with Urban League. Really helping our general body stay civically engaged during COVID. So again, everything you were saying and the advice you're giving to your peers, we can send this to our peers too, because it's on point. And I'm sure that they would also agree on the excitement around what's possible in this space. How does leadership look in this space? I'm sure these are questions on their minds as well. Bree, do you have any other questions or anything that you think would be valuable, or you all, is there something that we didn't touch that you think would be valuable for your peers to know?
I wanted to just add kind of one more, two last things. And it would be the first thing is to like set personal goals. I feel like that's how I've been getting through quarantine, is I'd say, okay, if I finish everything on my to-do list, I'm going to have ice cream for dessert. Like just the little things. And that helps the day go by, and it gives you that motivation to continue through your day and to finish your day and not get back in the bed and go to sleep. Just remember that. And then also to not beat yourself up if you don't accomplish those goals, but to just remember to set the personal goals, set weekly goals, set monthly goals, because I feel like sometimes it's easy to lose track of your goals during quarantine. Because I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, I'm just at home relaxing, but no, you should still be on your stuff and still getting stuff done. And then the second thing I've been telling everyone is to step outside your comfort zone. Now is the time to step outside your comfort zone, because you're in nothing but comfort. I've been telling people who have never been in a pageant before that I was talking to the freshmen, just go out for the pageant, just do it. Or if you've never done student government before, just do it. If you've never played an instrument before, go on YouTube, teach yourself how to do it. Just step outside your comfort zone, because you have all the time in the world to do it right now.
Yeah, and kind of to piggyback off of that, set goals and do those things, but make sure you're taking care of your mental health. Really, seek therapy, talk to family and friends. You're not alone, because we're all going through this together. So make sure, whenever you're feeling down, seek help. We're all here in this together, and you can, talk to your therapist or find one, or your parents and your family and even your friends. But just make sure you're taking care of your mental health during this time.
Yeah, Lauren, you kind of touched on it about like looking at YouTube videos. If you said for playing an instrument, I was gonna say anything you want to do, like you can literally you have access to learning how to do it. And I talked a little bit earlier about cooking. I learned that through YouTube, right? There's so many different online resources now. A lot of different colleges are providing free online courses for you to take during this time, right? So, you really don't have an excuse about doing anything that you want to do. Now is the time to do it. There's 24 hours in a day. It's a long time. Some Netflix shows could take a break. You can, you just have time to do a lot, right? So definitely go out and push yourself to do things that you never thought you could do. And make sure you come out of this pandemic, you can look back at it and say, oh, at least I did this, or it was productive in this way. Don't look back at it and saying, this was just a hard part of my life and something I had to get through. No, it was a hard part and I turned it into something positive, right? And so I think that's something that, everybody should work on, at least towards one thing, that, hey, I became proficient at this. I'm proud of myself. And, now that's a life skill that I have in the future. So I would just say, just push yourself to do things, that you never thought you would before.
I think everyone summed up my sentiments really beautifully. And my only thing would just be to remember that it's okay to feel discouraged or disappointed sometimes, or feel sad about how things turned out, but just know that I always tell myself that I believe that the Lord, everything He does is intentional, and there's some lesson that we needed to learn. Whether or not you believe in a higher power, like if it's just the universe, things happen in the universe for a reason, and either to teach us lessons or to grow, to just show us that it's sometimes growing and transition periods are very uncomfortable. So just not being afraid to feel everything that you're feeling and allow yourself to process those emotions, and just understand that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and everything is super intentional.
Also, not to prolong, but also wanting to just second everything that everyone said, because it was very beautiful. But the advice that I gave myself in the beginning was to write the vision and make it plain. So whatever is on my heart, whatever I need to do, I really like drawing. So I just started drawing, and I really like cosmetics. So I started planning my cosmetic company. Just start getting into what you like. And it doesn't have to even be about school. Your goals don't have to always pertain to school. Yes, education is important, but if you have something else that you're interested in, go after that. Start a business, write the book, release the album, write the vision and make it plain.
All right. I was just waiting to see if anybody had a second or a third or a fourth. What I'll say, as somebody who works with young people and also some of the most marginalized young people in the district, is there at times the sense of prioritizing education can be daunting when there are so many other things that you're responsible for your siblings, responsible for your parents, working a job, trying to figure out distance learning between the new job that you got because summer youth was impacted by COVID. There are so many factors. So very similar to what was shared, there's an opportunity for you to dig deep, to write your goals, whether they be, this is what I'm going to, test out on math, or I'm going to test out on reading. I'm going to earn and save this amount of money. I'm going to spend this amount of time getting rest. I'm going to have a conversation with my parents about the importance of setting a schedule. I'm going to make sure that I spend an hour drawing or writing, whatever that is. I'm going to reach out to my schools and get the laptops. I'm going to reach out to my schools and ask for social emotional care on Wednesdays. Every Wednesday, DCPS, you have an opportunity to reach out for support for mental health, for social emotional health. There are tools and resources. So just speaking to our marginalized community in DC, there is so much support. It just does take a little bit of effort to go ahead and connect with those outlets. But there are people here for you. And also do not isolate. So I think something that's important for all young people is to know that you are not here alone, and isolation is actually will create more stress. not only with your academics or with school, but with your mental and emotional wellness. So I could talk about this all day because I bother my young people all the time about how they're doing and doing check-ins, but definitely check in on your peers. Find those times to have house parties, the little app thing, playing Uno, or do virtual movie nights or sleepovers. But taking care of yourself and having a good time and figuring out what that looks like for you, whether it's outside or virtually, will definitely impact and enhance your education experience, especially after staring at a computer all day. So make sure you're taking care of your mind, making sure you're moving, doing some yoga or dancing or TikToks or whatever we're doing nowadays to get your body moving, and also make that time to tap into resources to support you with school. If there's not anything else from our wonderful folks at Greater Washington Urban League, or from you all who are here, I'm going to pause just in case a hand goes up. Okay, I again want to thank you all for being present on this lovely day to provide this resource for young people. And then, of course, like I said, we're going to share this with our peers too, because you all gave amazing, amazing advice that I think will translate for school as well as the workplace. So thank you. And thank you, Greater Washington Urban League, for creating the opportunity for us to engage young people about things that matter to them, and so they can give some peer-to-peer support. And that's all we have today. Again, I'm Kwanzaa Billy, Civic Engagement Chair for Thursday Network of Greater Washington Urban League, and thank you all for tuning in.